Can you give a few examples of areas in your life where you reflected that you were moving too fast and why you thought you needed to move fast? And are you going slower now because you can't keep up the pace or for some other reason?
Great question. So I don't know how much of this is universal-ish and age-related, but my 20s were very characterized by fast. And some of that fast was no bueno, like working 80 to 90 hours a week for 6 years, first in nonprofit, then in early stage tech, and like not being 22 on the other side of those 6 years.
Hmm.
And I wouldn't do it any differently. Some of it was characterized by like living in New York, which I still think is the best freaking city on the planet. And the kinetic energy, it just like is a magnet to my DNA. Like it just, when I'm there, it feels like I'm in tepid water. Like that is home for me, that energy. Um, and it was so fucking fun. Left nothing on the table. Like really in my 20s. I loved my 20s. So I think, some of it was like burnout central. And I only really realized that kind of after the fact. And it was largely professional. And then some of it was just like, I can, so I will, like I'm just going to do all the things, be all the things, explore. Um, and when I was working on ARC and I was creating content and experiences and building connections with people around issues of spirituality, which I would define spirituality as like, who am I? How do I want to be in the world? And when I try to answer those questions, I naturally come into contact with mystery, things I can't explain, things I can't understand, and also with others. Like, who am I and how do I want to be in the world? Like, that's relational a lot of the time. And to be able to work within spirituality, a slowing down, there's like a hokey version of the slowing down, or for me, kind of like an over earnest version of the slowing down that just like doesn't quite resonate, but I've participated in and learned a lot from. Um, and then there's just like a more elemental, I think, necessity to a certain kind of literal and kind of like internal slowing down to make space for emotion to come up when you wouldn't have time or space for it to come up, but then it shows you something about what you care about. Like it's it's that kind of slowing down, and it started for me then. And it doesn't feel like something to go back on. Like I can still have an amazing weekend of oomph this weekend, which actually feels kind of fast in a way, and still be the person that I started becoming at this point, like, 6, 7 years